Welcome back to the third part of the Charge Attack E3 post show talk, where we talk about Square Enix.
Yep, that sounds like a title.
Yeah, that's a long title. That's the whole title. Square Enix and Nintendo, who, for us in Britain, they're both on Tuesday, 2 o'clock in the morning for Square Enix and 5 o'clock in the afternoon/evening, which in response for Pacific time was 5 o'clock in the evening for
I think it was
6 o'clock in the evening for Pacific time on the Monday, and then on the Tuesday 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Whew, right, we've got through all that. So this is just basically the follow up. So we're just going to go back through obviously everything that was shown at Square Enix, and then we'll do Nintendo afterwards. And these two, for me, were the biggest and most important ones.
Yep, easily.
Yeah, easily.
I expected they would be. I hoped Microsoft would do bigger, but I expected that these two would be where the slack would get picked up.
Square did already have a massive sort of talking point, which they'd not shied away about at all. No, and two, you are correct. And Nintendo had some interesting things to talk about. We all knew, and then they obviously had a very big surprise as well, which we'll get onto in a bit.
A couple of big surprises, actually.
So we'll start off with Square Enix, and they stayed true to form.
Yep.
What compared to last year, this show was amazing. Last year's was absolutely pathetic.
Yeah,
like really bad.
Dog excrement.
Yeah, and this one, no Babylon's Fall this time, which is the only good thing from last year that I can remember. Which is a bit of a disappointment, but I mean,
what could you tell from last year's about Babylon Fall?
I mean, you couldn't tell anything. I mean, it's one of these things. As far as cinematic trailers go, Babylon's Fall looked relatively interesting.
Yeah,
but
that looked nice.
I mean, Platinum Games seem to be doing 101 different games at the moment.
Yeah.
So you have no idea what they're
if they're working with their, I don't know if they have an A and a B team anymore, but if they're working with a good part of Platinum, then it should be interesting.
But the problem is that there were so many other games. You don't know which good team's working on what.
No idea.
So anyways, we'll get into it. Final Fantasy VII was the first thing that Square Enix brought onto the stage. I have not shied away from voicing how much I do enjoy a good old Final Fantasy VII. Any Final Fantasy, to be honest.
Yeah.
A bit of a Square Enix fanboy.
Between 7 and 10, they're your love children.
Yeah.
That's the wrong phrase.
I know where you're getting at. And they gave a load of information.
They did.
Like, absolutely shed tons. And it's everything that you could really want that they did. So in the prior years, they'd shied away from giving little to any information. I mean, I think at one point we went a year and a couple of months without any information at all regarding this game.
Well, until the state of play, the last one that happened, it had been almost 2 years since we saw anything of it, I believe.
I mean, other than a couple of like screenshots and stuff like that. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Since the last trailer.
At least they delivered. So what they did is they started off by basically just showing some more of the footage that they had shown before. Basically reiterating, we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy VII.
I think they kicked off with the trailer that they showed at the concert the night before.
Yep. And came down with some nice interactions. Some people came out on stage to talk about what was actually happening and what's going on and whatnot. They wanted to start off by saying that this game is actually so big, it's actually across 2 Blu-ray discs.
Which is insane.
Which is just ridiculous.
I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2 fits on one. I don't know if there's an additional download, but they only have 1 disc. Like,
I mean, if you can still, even if you could download at like, well, the download for Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm pretty sure even if you had the disc, was like 100 gigabytes. Wasn't it?
Okay.
So
then that would have filled 2 discs.
So that would have filled 2 discs, but
they just didn't want to do 2 discs.
It depends on obviously what they're wanting to do with this. It's all down to how much is download and whatnot. But
yeah, I know they get around it with the download, but I don't think there has been a 2 Blu-ray disc game.
No, it's just ridiculous. And it's ridiculous in the proportions of size or detail, whatever they want to do. But like everyone, there is loads of controversy that's been going around about Final Fantasy VII and the remake. There's so many people that were worried and upset and everything. And I feel as though what they did during this conference is they addressed everything that you would ever be concerned about with this, and they put it to rest. If you were concerned about this being episodic, they've basically turned around here and gone, oh, well, it is episodic, but you've got 2 discs worth of content for the first game, for the first part. That's not them going, oh, we're breaking it down into 3 episodes to get as much money from you as possible. There wouldn't
be a full game in episode 1.
Or
they
content.
have addressed that concern.
Yeah, and it is fair enough, and this is something that I've been quite vocal and said anyway, that I have all the faith. I don't mind the episodic nature, because essentially what they're doing is they're going, if you love Final Fantasy VII that much, which I do anyway, is they're going, okay, we're going to make it in as much detail as possible and make it as long as possible so that you could enjoy it for longer, and they get more money out of it because they're making multiple games out of the one title. So it's a win-win for everybody. It's like, I think for me, it's just sort of like Lord of the Rings. I love Lord of the Rings. That's across 3 movies. I know obviously that was 3 books and whatnot, but in retrospect, they could have essentially fitted that down into one film. They could have extended it longer. If they really wanted to, you could restructure the way it works. Yeah. And that's the thing is you're getting with these games, is because Final Fantasy VII was a massive game, even especially compared to nowadays standards.
Yeah. I mean, what was it? Was 7 3 discs or 4?
3 discs for
3
7
discs.
Originally. So
there we go. Imagine the amount of discs this thing is going to total in the end. Then
I reckon that I still think, you think it's going to be how many episodes?
I think 4 minimum.
See,
I think they might actually be aiming for 7.
This game is just going to be phenomenal, and it's going to be all that Square Enix are going to be working on now for the next. Well, if it is 7, next 7 years at least, I would have thought.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have an engine for it now and stuff, you know, like
they will be pumping them out a bit quicker.
Like I think
now that
the
we've
pace
started,
will increase.
now that we've started, it's probably going to be the sort of thing where it's going to be like it will be
increasing the pace for Square Enix
is
probably
something that they
year
need.
and a half is optimistic.
So yeah, if you had that concern about it, episodic wise, at least you now have confidence in the fact that knowing that this game is not just going to be sort of a massive cash grab. Oh yeah, it's episodic. You're going to be playing it for half an hour and then you have to wait 6 months. It's not like Life is Strange. It's not like Telltale games or anything like that. This is a pure, proper, in-depth game.
Yeah.
That's basically been split into 6 different other games by the sounds of it.
I mean, if we break it down, this game, by all regards, doesn't seem to get through. At most, get through half of disc 1 of the original 7, right?
Well,
if that, maybe.
I mean, even
I
if
hear
that,
it's like the
this
first
is
6
what,
hours of the game.
Loads of people, and like you were saying this even yourself, that you don't go beyond Midgar.
Yeah, well, they did say that on the stage. They said that this episode is Midgar.
That's just ridiculous. Like, the Midgar is the first 3 hours of the original game, or if you're playing it and you know what you're doing, so round about 5 hours of the very first original game, and it just opens up into so much more. It's so weird to think
they can turn that into what looks to be at least a 30-hour experience.
At least over 2 discs, I'm expecting it to be a bloody 50-hour experience.
That's a very good point.
Also, more to the point, just before I continue on this, we just said about like disc size and space.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption 2, if you don't have an internet connection, so everything must be on that disc already, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to play the flipping game at all.
Yeah, but isn't that something that they do?
What? Not allow you to play?
Well, so I've never tried to play a PlayStation 4 game without, like, I've never tried to stop it doing that download business when you
they
first
always
put
have
in the
those
game.
downloads because it's like updates and like patches and whatnot.
But
That's why it's
like
always
day
there.
one,
You can always start the games without doing the updates. If you
I've
disconnect
never
your
tried that.
console from the internet,
It will play it.
It will still play it. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's we're talking about blimmin' Stadia and whatnot,
I
and
thought-
how you constantly need internet connection.
Yeah.
And if that was the case, then these consoles would be just as guilty. Anyway, so they addressed this. They addressed the issue of episodic, and if you would be concerned about that and everything like that. The other issue that they did address, and they addressed it phenomenally well, is the battle system. What do you think of this?
It seems like something I came up with in a dream, and then they made it real. If I'm completely on it,
You got to take me for it. You got to talk.
Yeah. So I have Final Fantasy VII is something I bully Ben about, but that I do like and respect without having played it properly.
Yeah, I'll definitely.
The combat system in this looks perfect. Like, genuinely perfect. It's not fair. Why can't they do this for 8?
This is where I think that they've really gone to the correct lengths for everything, because I've always been about the whole fact of I'm okay with with active battle where you're constantly swiping and attacking, sort of like Kingdom Hearts, real time fighting and everything like that, because when you're doing a remake, you're trying to make the game look as beautiful as possible, and you're also
trying to bring it up to
modern
standard.
It does. Like, turn-based battles works well in certain games. So Octopath Traveler works well for that. However, it would look so out of place if you had all of this amazing-looking scenery and enemies and everything, and then every time you go into combat, it's just sort of like
cuts away.
Everybody's static, and it's just sort of like, oh yeah, you can do your turn in a bit, then you can do your turn. It doesn't have the control that it should have.
Yeah. Plus, at this point, there have been enough Final Fantasies that aren't turn-based or battle gauge based that it's not like something that the series has to have.
So they've done this perfectly by basically implementing the fluidity, I think that's the right word, of combat and style, where you're constantly attacking and you're doing something on screen. You're not just sat there thinking. But then as you build your active time battle gauges, you then can do your abilities like summon or use your magic and whatnot.
And at that point, it kicks into
slow mode.
What do they call it? Pause mode? Or do they call it slow mode? They had this feature in 15. It didn't. It was very optional, and I don't think anyone used it. But it was in there.
Yeah, and you can then just essentially appreciate it. If you are someone that wants to play even quicker, you can have it so it's constantly running. You can have your abilities then assigned to hotkeys. So just like Kingdom Hearts, you then hold L1 when you've got a bar available. Then you can hold L1, press triangle, and you'll do, say for example, Fira, depends how you pronounce it, or any other ability like cross slash, which is perfect.
Yeah,
because they've now
addressed... You can make it as action gamey as you want it to be.
Yeah, and you can also make it turn-based if you want.
Yeah.
So, if you were concerned about the combat system not being great, here you go.
Yeah.
They've addressed it.
I feel it's best. I mean, nothing pleases everyone. There will still be people that have issues, but I feel like...
There is definitely going to...
For the majority, this will have quelled...
I have been on the internet, and already I have seen people... Yeah, it's already a bad start, really. You already do see people saying, oh no, this doesn't look very good. And it's like, what are you wanting? And there's people... I've seen people genuinely saying, why aren't they just doing just a graphical improvement? That's all I want. And it's like...
They did that
there's nothing... That's not what you want out of this. If you want a remake, you want them to do everything from scratch and make it a better game. They've got an amazing base. They can do better with it. They can make something different. If I want that game, I will go back and play the old Final Fantasy VII. There is no need to then stifle other people on what they would want.
Yeah, like what do they want? They want it to look like that, but they still want you to have a top-down view and go around pre-rendered backgrounds.
That's the thing, is that would, their argument then would be, well, no, you don't need to have it like that. But then it would be, well, then you're not true to the old...
Then you're not just asking for a graphical upgrade. Then you're asking them to change this, but not that.
Yeah.
And you're not making the game, so you don't get to make that cool.
Just
like
shut them out.
It's not for you to decide. Like, these are the guys making it. That's their call. Yeah. And also, like, you got to think, like, if they just upgraded the graphics and made it really pretty and otherwise it played the same, that isn't as interesting for the average consumer and doesn't even necessarily appeal to people that played the original. So your target audience for that is way more limited than just making a new game
That
based
is,
on the old one.
yeah, I think that's a very good way to put it.
And I mean, they got to make money off this, right?
Exactly. Well, but the way it's going, I can only imagine that they will sell a lot of copies.
I mean, if the fancy edition is the same price as a brand new console, yeah, sure.
Yeah, my wallet is gonna hurt. So they showed that. They showed this active time battle gauge. So you can use your abilities. You can see your materia equipped to your weapon. You could see
cool.
in the Buster Sword. You could see.
Yeah, you could see the
his
little green material.
Green materia, which is
I don't know.
magic. Oh, come
okay.
on! Should have known this.
I just said
I
I
don't
haven't played.
care. And then obviously you can switch between your characters freely. You can then obviously, in this case, you can then play as Barrett, and Barrett is long range, which is, they've introduced individuality a lot more here. So obviously in the original, Barrett was able to hit long range, but for the most part, stats were generally sort of
that wasn't really
average.
a thing that mattered as much, right?
No, not as much. There is obviously a lot of things that, like, Aerith was more proficient in magic than she was in melee, but however, you could adjust all of that anyway. So it didn't make too much of a difference. So that's quite cool. And then Barrett can hit the long range stuff and the stuff that Cloud won't be able to reach. And what they have now shown is that Stagger is back and it's included. So just like from Final Fantasy 13.
I was going to say, they have learned a lot from all of the recent Final Fantasies on this. Like, you can see the 13 influence on the Stagger. Yeah. You can see the Zodiac Age influence on how they've made each character its own thing more. Yeah. Because that was a big criticism of 12 originally, is that you could just turn any character into anything. And they've learnt an awful lot from 15's combat system. Like, I think that is the most prevalent influence here.
And it's working well. They're working so well together.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things. The Stagger that they've brought in from Final Fantasy 13, they haven't made it like Final Fantasy 13 in the sense of when
it's the only way to beat something.
Like, yeah, it's there and it's something that you can use, and it's
it's a play style you could adopt.
Yeah, it's important. Like, some of the enemies will be required to get their Stagger and whatnot, but it's not sort of like where you're constantly focusing on, like in 13, I've got to be magic, a commando, and I've got to have somebody that's there applying buffs and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's not constantly like switching between and whatnot. You're building up the Stagger to then be able to do extra damage. That's all you need to worry about. Don't worry about too much of the nitty gritty things, which is again them staying almost a little bit, from what I'm seeing, is true to their combat style, where they're saying the combat in Final Fantasy VII is still more simplistic than potentially others. However, it's still got enough depth for you to play with.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Agreed.
Sweet. So they said that they're going to be showing more soon as well.
Sounds good.
Could be at any point though. I don't have much faith in that. I mean,
they already announced the release date.
Yeah, that was the day before this.
Yeah. So 3rd of March.
Yep.
Which means we have how many months? What are we in? We're in June.
Yep.
So we've got 9 months till release.
Yep.
What have we got between? I mean, Tokyo Game Show, I think, is later in the year. Maybe we'll get something like that.
Definitely something there. There will be another State of Play. I reckon another State of Play in about 2 months' time. So I reckon August, more footage will be shown then.
Sounds
Tokyo
fair.
Game Show is in October, isn't it?
Yeah. Did they say there isn't a PlayStation Experience this year?
They haven't announced it. They didn't do one last year, did they?
See, that's where I was getting confused. I can't remember if it was last year they said they weren't and didn't, or if they said they weren't doing it again this year.
Last year they didn't do one, so there might be one this year. Because the year before, the year before they had is the one where they revealed Medieval.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So they're saying there's more to come in the coming months. However, that could be at any point. There's no guarantees as to when. Yeah. And to be honest, I don't want to see too much more. I'm liking what they've shown so far.
No. I mean, so I don't know the game that well. I don't know how much more there is or isn't to show. As I understand it, the boss fight they showed is the first boss in the game.
Correct.
And looked insane.
That's the first boss in the original.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, I suppose it might not be the first boss anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, so I heard some reactions to this, and they mentioned that we haven't seen any of Midgard's slums.
You've seen very brief shots of
Oh,
it.
okay, all right.
A little bit of brief footage here and there. So it was like quite cool when you saw some of the original footage that they showed of it. Is when like Cloud's running through like one of the slum streets, and you can see like 7 or 8 different like air conditioning and radiator grills like on the wall to help
Show
put
you
across
that
the
it's
point that it's
overpopulated
and crowded and sorts of things, which is really cool.
Give it that Hong Kong or Bangkok kind of vibe.
Yeah. Whilst that was everything that they announced at the very start, they then decided to come onto stage and then announce a little bit more. There was so much here. So if you are at E3, or you were at E3, you did get a chance to play this. So I bet you that queue was massive.
It was playable.
Playable. Yeah.
I did not realise that.
Yeah. Do you know what? There was tickets up for sale, and I was sat here thinking, I could do that, seeing as I'm out of a job at the moment. But I did feel as though I might not have been a wise use to what little money I have left. So the people at E3 got to play it. And
it says, and then pre-orders both special editions.
Yeah, but that money doesn't come out until near the time of it being released.
True.
They then showed a longer trailer to the one that showed the release date the day before, so you're wrong on that when you said it a minute ago.
Okay.
One of the things that they showed in this trailer, which was really cool, is Cloud's motorbike, but not only that, but Jessie on the back of it.
Yeah, so as I understand it, this is a new motorbike section. Well,
by the looks of it, because Jessie never goes on the motorbike.
Ah, okay. So
in the original. So
new.
Again, this is what they're doing. Something like that, it looks really awesome, and it makes you sit there and go, "What? What are they doing with the story there?" That makes me intrigued. That doesn't make me pissed off.
Adding more story
makes me
beats.
intrigued.
It's a good idea.
Intrigued. Showed a little bit of Aerith in battle, casting one of her spells, not great gospel, which is
medium gospel.
No, it's probably just her plain like standard healing spells, which is quite cool. And then they finally showed Tifa.
Yeah, they did, son.
She looks amazing, and I did call it last week. She's not super busty, which I'm so glad about. Like they didn't need to make it. I think sort of like
her design fits better.
Yeah, it's just not a necessary thing. Like it's proper Eastern to have like absolutely massive kahunas.
I think it was also maybe a sign of the times. Like the original 7 came out very much in like Tomb Raider heyday.
Yeah.
Like, you're kind of competing with that. And also just polygons. Like, you got to make someone stand out. You've only got, like, 5 points or whatever that you can adjust with.
Well, we might as well we'll be able to tell all the girls apart by their breasts, is what you're saying. So they showed Tifa, and she does look really good.
Yeah.
Exactly what you want.
Playstyle looks good.
Yeah. They do show her in action. And, yeah, definitely, like... You can almost like feel the hits a lot more than Cloud's like slashes and whatnot. You do see a dolphin kick at one point, I believe, if I saw that correctly.
I think I saw it. What's her big? She has like a big punch move.
The really uppercut.
Oh, was it just called uppercut?
I'm pretty sure. Like some of hers are not that like impressive. Hopefully they'll still have meteor dive, which I think I've shown you before, where she essentially she picks them up and then twizzles them round and slams them into the ground. But on the original Final Fantasy VII, it didn't matter what you were fighting, she would pick it up, spin it in the air and throw it into the ground. So when you're fighting like one of the enemies that were like embedded in the ground and whatnot, or say for example Sephiroth at the very end, you just it was ridiculous.
Signs of the times.
The monsters look amazing as well. So it showed a couple of the creatures. It showed the bit just after the cross-dressing, weirdly enough.
Yeah, I heard that it showed a bit that seems to imply that the cross-dressing is still present.
They've already said that the cross-dressing is still in it.
Ah, okay.
They said this back when it first got announced. But basically, just after the cross-dressing, there is a type of enemy that you fight, and there is a boss that you fight just after the cross-dressing incident. I do not know the names of the creatures because
Is that the sewer monster?
Yeah, okay, you remembered it, and you didn't even play
no,
it.
I
I'm
don't think
pretty
that's his
sure.
name,
No, I'm
that's
pretty
just-
sure his name is Sewer Monster.
Oh, well, they'll give it a different name.
Either way, there's sewer monster things.
The Scorpion boss has a new name now.
It's still Scorpion Boss, pretty much.
No, it's called the Scorpion Sentinel now.
Yeah, but you'd still call it a Scorpion
I know.
Boss. So it showed some more footage of that, and it looks class. They look so
Yeah, it does.
so cool. It's no wonder this is on 2 discs, really.
Yeah.
But again, this was just a cinematic, so it's not. You don't know how those monsters are going to look in battle and whatnot, but I can't imagine they're going to look too different from.
The cinematics were actually done.
Oh yeah, it's still
engine.
in-game engine, but again, it's the cinematic. I'm not going to sit here and say
It will look
what it
a
is.
little bit different.
Yeah, and then they did show finally Sephiroth. Seems to be a lot of. They're showing a lot of this story that's different and new and more involving.
Yeah.
And
makes me wonder how much they're going to change it.
Yeah. So obviously, like, this new sort of element of, like, this black smoke that's going around and whatnot, and then Cloud's having these visions in an alleyway and thinks that he's seeing Sephiroth. This all could be linked to the original story, or they could have just gone a completely new way with it.
Yeah. What if Zack doesn't exist?
No, just don't. We won't even go there. But they have to somewhat stay true to the original story.
Yeah,
because they've got Advent
so
Children and they've got Crisis Core and whatnot. They're all still linked in still.
Are they?
Well, they
Maybe
should
they're
be.
considered canon for the original.
I mean, they did
and this
say
is a new canon.
They did say that's why they won't ever release this as like a triple pack because they're not.
Yeah,
they're
not
meant to be
directly
segregated, sort of thing, which is fine, and I can understand that, and I can make sort of links. So, Cloud seeing Sephiroth in the alleyway, it could be emphasis on the fact that he's got Genova cells in him, and that he's seeing Sephiroth and whatnot. There is possibilities you can piece together something, but you're not sure, and that's what I really do like.
Yeah. Quick side note: Sephiroth's new voice, I've gotten used to now. Sounds alright.
I think he sounds.
I think I will get used to Barrett's. I didn't even realise that everyone else's had changed. None of the cast from Advent Children in it. They are all new voice actors.
Are you sure?
That isn't Steve Blum voicing Cloud anymore.
I swear to God, Steve Blum said that he.
No, they've apparently they've come out and said that it's all new cast.
Oh, I didn't realise that. So yeah, I didn't even notice it either. And just before
he's doing good job. I liked the chit chat between Cloud and Barrett.
Yeah, while they're fighting and whatnot.
Yeah.
I was going to say, just before we do finish on Final Fantasy VII, because we spent the past 20 minutes talking about it,
we can spend longer.
I mean, I could happily speak for an hour on it. The fight between Cloud, Barrett, and the Scorpion Sentinel. There you go.
Yeah, that was epic.
Is awesome, and like we were saying, this is the first boss.
Yeah,
all of the enemies are emphasized to be what you would expect them to be. So with the Scorpion Sentinel, it is big, hefty, strong, and it takes up the majority of your screen. Your weapons are not doing much damage. Thunder is obviously great against it. It's destroying everything.
Had different phases, like obviously like a Final Fantasy boss typically, but I'm talking phases like Dark Souls style, like the moveset changes up and things, kind of phases.
Which is good. I mean, they did have that sort of thing in prior Final Fantasies and whatnot. When their health gets lower, then obviously they start using things. But with the new combat
style and stuff,
it works so well. So at some point it'll like jump onto the wall and start running along the wall, and that's when you need to switch to Barrett and then use his long range.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Everything.
And
this
there are
combat
points where it will use like
amazing.
A sort of unstoppable attack, so you have to like take cover while it does that. You have to like isolate its energy core or its.
Yeah,
I forget what the part is, but
that was something that I wanted to talk about, because what at one point in the battle with the Sentinel Scorpion is it becomes invincible except from
Oh, except for a specific part of it.
A tiny specific part of it. And the reason I wanted to point it out is it doesn't do what every conventional video game does, where it's just sort of like, oh, the enemy's invincible. There's this massive red glowing spot on it, because there is a way to get past its invincibility, but it is just a tiny little red dot, a teeny weeny little red dot that blends in with the rest of the scorpion. So it's
well,
not
the rest of the
handed
scorpion
to you.
develops like a red glow to it anyway, so it's not.
It's not the simplest thing to find, but it's not spoon fed to you. But the characters aren't telling you where it is either. It makes it a game of actually trying to play it. So it's sort of like how you would expect a game to have a difficult stage actually makes it difficult.
Yeah.
And if they continue that with all the other bosses as well.
Christ, I can't imagine what
Obviously
some
not
of the later bosses are going to be like in this game.
I can't imagine what the end boss is going to be like.
No.
If they've gone to these extremes just for the first boss, unless they are properly just trying to get people's money, the rest of the game's going to be gash.
I can't see them do that.
No, they won't.
But what I was going to say, the weapons do appear in the main game. They're not just post game, are they?
They are part of the integral part of the story.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it afterwards. But
they're going to be insane in this game.
I get the feeling that they're a major part of the story. So I don't want to sit here and say then I don't think we'll see them in the story. But I do feel as though the way in which we combat them will be very severely different. It won't be fighting them while your three characters are all stood on the ground.
Yeah.
I don't think that.
I think it'll be like you go inside them, break down their parts or something. Like, do you get what I mean? Like,
yeah. There is a lot of space for improvements.
Yeah.
But what we are going to do is we are just going to quickly move on, because we have been speaking about this for ages now. And there is so much more other things that they did show at the Square Enix showcase. So they then showed a little bit of Life is Strange 2, with just some information about it and YouTubers playing it, just basically some extra sales. Octopath Traveler was re-advertised, and what else has it got new?
So they mentioned an Octo challenge on Switch. I think it's actually just a competition, though. I don't think there's new content.
Yeah.
But I believe what they were advertising is that it's on PC and Steam.
PC and Steam. That's quite cool. But Octopath Traveler is one of those games I've got. I need to get around to playing it. It's just finding the time for it. Is the
not
pain.
A short game.
Crystal Chronicles has been shown again, and they've told you that it's now coming to this winter. Yeah. And what's the other edition?
Oh, that it's coming to mobile.
Yeah, very strange. I mean, I
really
liked the idea of getting it on the Switch, and I still prefer the idea of getting it on the Switch.
Yeah, Switch. If I've got the time to play it, Switch will be where I'll play it.
Yeah, but when it's on your mobile, you know that it's easier to get to.
That is true.
So
I would have more time to play it if it were on my mobile. But still.
Yeah. They then showed the last
Cross-buy.
What?
I want to Switch mobile cross-buy.
Okay. The Last Remnant was then has been remastered, and it was available as of that night.
Yeah,
which was the
for
10th.
Switch, it was already available on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Possibly just PS4. Not entirely sure.
You know what Square Enix are like. They do have a bit of a partnership with Sony.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest Builders 2.
Yep. We knew this existed, but
we knew this
just reminding us, looks good.
And it looks amazing. It's bigger. Everything is more detailed. There's so much more to do. There's more things to experience.
Yeah.
There's harvesting, which I believe is something that wasn't necessarily in the first one.
No, there's a lot of stuff that wasn't in the first. They've added like gliding, and I think they've added.
This is the sort of thing where you'd expect Minecraft to have its upgrade to of this sort of scale. Minecraft already does quite well anyway, but
understatement of the year.
Understatement of the year. There's now 4-player co-op online as well with Dragon Quest Builders 2.
Yeah,
I
have no interest in Minecraft, but
I was gonna say I've played Minecraft. I don't mind it. It's quite enjoyable. Dragon Quest Builders 2 actually looks like something I would quite enjoy
Yeah.
and play, but massive time sink.
Yeah.
So if this is your style of game, if you like Minecraft, get this one.
Yeah. Or if you like Dragon Quest. I mean, it still has many aspects that function as a Dragon Quest game, as I understand it.
Yeah, and then there's going to be a demo for that available from July 12th or June 27th. No, the demo is available from June 27th, and it's coming out on July 12th.
There we go.
There we go. That was a struggle, wasn't it? Dragon Quest XI Definitive Edition is coming on Switch this fall.
You mean Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age Deluxe Edition or Complete Edition?
I'm glad you remembered that. Square, they've also
looks cool.
They wanted to showcase a little bit. We'll go more onto the Dragon Quest XI and Switches.
That's a good
Nintendo's
point. More reason to talk about it.
Yeah. Then you had Square Enix talking about their indie developers and who they've helped, and they've got a new style coming out, which is Circuit Superstar, which is a top-down racer in a cartoon style with classic cars.
Yeah, so they in their little trailer they showed, I don't even remember which indie game it was, but they showed one that I remembered and I was like, oh yeah, that was a good game. Nothing else they showed seemed that great, and the racing game they showed also didn't seem that great.
So this is, when we say it's a cartoony top-down racer, we mean that in
it's
the
like an
literal
RC
sense.
car racer.
Yeah, it's not. It seems quite interesting, and it's an indie game, so you're not looking at AAA sort of title here.
Yeah,
but it is a little bit. It is.
It's
lackluster.
It's out of its depth in this presentation, to say the least.
I think that this was more Square Enix going, yeah, we help support the smaller ones, rather than saying this is an amazing game. So it's just something that was that's around. They then did show a little bit of Battalion 1944. It's basically Call of Duty World at War, but
oh yeah, I remember this one now.
Yeah, just.
But the fact that I had otherwise forgotten about it is maybe
it's basically an online shooter, World War II, exactly like World at War, except from without the kill streaks and stuff. You go around with a Thompson or a sniper or a pistol, and you shoot the other players, and that's it. It's if you like that sort of thing, and you've got
it'll all depend on how it plays and feels.
Yeah,
won't it?
if you come home from work and you've got half an hour spare, this would be the sort of thing you could do. Pick up play a couple of games, a couple of matches. It's like highly supportive of like tournament basement and whatnot.
Yeah.
But until I see more delivery of that, it's not something that I would pick up.
Until
this game
Barrett is a playable character in it.
Yeah, you just mow everybody down. Square Enix music is now on streaming services. The advert that they had with that was quite funky as well.
Yeah, the advert was good.
Like basically a band following a girl into a coffee shop.
Yeah.
They started to get ready to play everything, the music that she selected, and then she just played it on her headphones instead. It was just a nice.
And then
bit
left
of fun.
the coffee shop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC trailer was shown again.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of this trailer at all.
Well, so we can tell that you will get to play the other characters' parts in the final battle, which is cool. Always happy to play as Roxas again.
That is not something that is
not
viable
that big a deal.
DLC. Or that's not even worth advertising about. They have said that they're doing these extra DLC worlds for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, have they said that there is?
They've said that they will be doing that, but they haven't shown it here. So whether this is just an extra little bit of, because they needed to address Kingdom Hearts 3 a little bit.
They also haven't stated if this is free or paid DLC. So this might be maybe a smaller DLC drop to kind of keep Kingdom Hearts in people's minds.
If it is though, then don't put it on your E3 stage because everyone was looking at it just hoping that you were going to give some more actual decent Kingdom Hearts stuff.
Information,
and they didn't really, unfortunately, and I think that's a bit of a shame, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, so I heard some stuff about it, and they pointed out to me like there isn't even voice acting in this trailer.
Yeah, they just bring up the classic style of The music in the background, music's good.
Oh yeah, of course.
Shows some of the interactions between characters and then bring up words on screen.
Yeah.
And that's it. A bit of a shame. They show a bit of the gameplay where you play as the other characters, but nothing spectacular. They're not like emphasizing this is Roxas. Look at this move he can do, where like then starts ripping somebody in two. They don't do any of that. They just show one of the characters doing an attack, a different character doing another attack.
Yeah, but so where you would play as those other people, if you've completed a game, that is a point that you can't just like return to. Like it's not part of like the where it jumps you back to if you complete it.
Yeah.
I don't even remember if it does jump you back in 3 actually, now that I say that. But either way, do you have to replay the game to get to this point to play that? Or
weirdly, this is a conversation I've had before where Bloodborne had this issue. Where Bloodborne's DLC is like near end game DLC, or one of them is proper end game DLCs.
Is this the weird infant man or whatever he's called?
Orphan of Kos. Let's say, for example, Orphan of Kos. He's harder than the end game boss.
Yeah.
Orphan of Kos is. But if you finish Bloodborne, the moment that you finish it, it takes you back to the very beginning.
Yeah.
And the DLC didn't come out at the same time that the game came out. It was added later on. So everybody that wanted, I really want to play the DLC of Bloodborne, then they had to realise that they had to play through the whole game again. Yeah. They were not best
Try and get past everything all over again.
Yeah. So it's just something that Kingdom Hearts 3, that was its only sort of presence at E3. It wasn't that great. But they did show Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringer. It was shown a little bit more in depth, like the character classes. It looks amazing.
Did they add new classes? I glazed over on this bit. No new classes.
Not as far as I was aware. Okay. The problem is that I don't know whether they're just mentioning an old one. It's been a while since I played 14, and we've discussed it. I'd love to play Final Fantasy 14. It's just too much of a time sink, and I do not have that much time.
That is a deep
to get
time
to the
sink.
End of that game has got to be the best part of about 1,000 hours, and I would not be able to commit to that. I'd love to be able to, but I won't be able to. Yeah. But then, like something like, say for example, Final Fantasy 11, people are saying that if you wanted to and you knew what you were doing or you were following a guide, you can get that game done in about 20-30 hours.
Really?
Apparently so.
Oh God.
Obviously, once you've unlocked like the later game stuff, then obviously they start leveling you up quicker and all of this. So there's ways to control it. But then they're showed some more of that. So Shadowbringer is coming out on July 2nd.
Yeah.
They had
huge game, so good to see that
huge
it's still
expansion.
Getting spoiled.
Yeah. Dying Light 2 was shown again, 2020 spring. We've spoken about this already.
Had they already announced Dying Light 2 or not?
Yeah. We talked about it in our other podcast yesterday. Remember?
Yeah. No, I know that. I mean, before E3 had it been announced.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it around.
Okay.
The Saga Scarlet... The Romancing Saga 3 is coming to the West, and the Saga Scarlet Gate coming to the West as well.
Yeah, there is an audience for that somewhere. I think it's mostly in Japan, if I'm honest. But
I would imagine so. I mean, most sales for most JRPGs are mostly in Japan. I would happily pick this up and play it.
If you have the time.
If I have the time. If I find the time. If I get through the games that I want to get through and get some spare time, this is the sort of thing I would love to play. Get around to play. Brave Exvius is now getting a new companion. Almost like an expansion. It's a new game, basically. But it is linked to the Brave Exvius world. This is called War of the Visions. It's connected to Brave Exvius, like I said. It's a top-down tactical combat game.
Did it show gameplay of this one? It did.
Yep.
Does it play like Final Fantasy Tactics or not?
Yeah.
I forget. It does.
Essentially. Yeah.
That could be interesting.
And it is quite cool. And people do want tactics games and Final Fantasy Tactics.
Love me some tactics games.
It's quite cool. This is in development. They haven't announced like a release date or anything like that yet. But the next game they did show is Outriders.
Yeah.
Which is by People Can Fly, who did, say, for example, Bulletstorm or Judgment Day, Gears of War, wasn't it?
Yeah, Gears of War. Oh, yeah, it's not numbered. It's just Gears of War Judgment.
And this is coming in summer 2020. Now, this game, I have a little bit more faith in this, and I don't know, they're giving me I don't know how they're doing it, but I'm feeling a little bit more faithful to this, because essentially is not only does it look like Destiny, but it is styled to be like Destiny in the sense that it's three people,
3-player co-op,
3-player co-op working together, but it is a story-driven game, and they have said that it's a dark modern shooter.
Also, I think
which I love the sound of.
Yeah, co-op will be a lot more involved than the co-op in Destiny, I think.
Yeah, by the sounds of it, if it's a story-based, then I reckon it's going to be more so about the story rather than about the looting.
Yeah.
Because that's what at its core, that is what Destiny is.
Yeah.
Is there's
no implication that this is a looter shooter.
Yeah, or just a Destiny rip-off.
Yeah, I think this will be... It might even be more like a Gears of War.
It's possible. Like, they have said it's a shoot. They didn't say it was first person.
Oh, so, that's true. Yeah.
So you never know. Could be third person.
But Bulletstorm plays well, so I have faith that it will play well.
Yeah. And that's one of the new things that got announced this year.
Yeah. This is one of the ones that no one knew anything about going into it.
So it's a bit of a shame that it didn't get as
if it had gotten just a little bit of gameplay somewhere,
which would have been nice, but I mean, like, it didn't get as much emphasis on it as possible. It's like in the middle of the conference, like towards the end or at the very beginning.
How far along this game is, to be honest. Like maybe they're just putting it out while they have a stage, and maybe it's not
just
as
to
soon
try
as
and just
think.
bring some attention to it.
Yeah.
Only Naki was shown.
Yeah, this is the I Am Setsuna and Lost Sphere team, Tokyo RPG Factory. I don't know, man. It looked less derivative than the previous two games have.
Yeah.
But this company is basically dedicated to making new games that feel like old ones.
Again, there's a market for it somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters.
Two sold all right.
It's one of those things I don't think I want to sit here and say slanderous and horrible things when I don't really... I haven't really played it.
I don't think there's anything wrong with them.
Yeah,
I think it's basically like, do you love Chrono Trigger? Then here is a game that is kind of like...
Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
it's not as good, but, you know, if that's what you're hungry for...
They didn't give any more details for that either. And they just showed
I think this one's a bit more Secret of Mana style. Like, it's an active combat system.
Yeah. Another massive big one that loads of people were asking for. Final Fantasy VIII is getting its remaster. Which is... it's
coming to Switch. This is our time.
It is much needed. Everyone was upset about it and complaining. People are now saying, typically, is that it should be getting a remake, not 7. Which you could argue for or against. I hope they do.
My argument was always that it should have gotten a Zodiac Age level rework rather than a 7 or 9 level rework.
Do you get what I mean? That?
Because I think the systems in 8, for as cool as they are
broken as shit.
Yeah, there's definitely issues.
Yeah.
Like, if you play through that game not completely understanding every system in that game, you're either going to screw yourself over or you're not going to get out of that game what you should be.
Yeah, you're not going to have the most fun. I mean, we're a classic example of this. We played through pretty much the first 3 discs. We're at the very end of the 3rd disc. Yeah. And we've managed to screw ourselves out of everything because we...
Yeah, we just straight up cannot get past this boss.
Yeah,
now.
We've over-leveled some things, we've under-leveled other things, we've relied on the GFs way too much. And it's all because basically we thought we understood the systems, but we didn't. And Elliot's smart, I'm not. So if it was just me by myself, I could blame myself. But
yeah. Well, we hit a point partway through the game where we realised we were supposed to be taking seed tests, which the game doesn't point out to you very well. But that is how your traditional leveling works and how you get money.
Money as well. But then obviously the stronger you get, the stronger the enemies can get as well.
Yeah.
So if you...
Enemies scale to your level, but not to your seed level or something.
Yeah, and it just starts getting really convoluted. So yeah, it is a shame that they didn't do that. But...
But hopefully...
I think I will pick this back up and I will play through this.
The new features they'll introduce will have, like... So the 7 port, remaster, I don't know what you call it. Introduced
re-release,
stuff.
3 times speed.
3 times speed, and you
limit
can
breaker.
affect the random encounter rate, stuff like that. I think all that stuff will help.
Yeah. And that is coming 2019, which
good.
I got wrong because I thought it was 2020 originally. But yeah, that's coming this year.
I think that'll be a winter
and that's coming
release,
to
probably.
all consoles
as
well. And they finally showed Avengers.
Yes.
So
they unleashed their big dog.
Starts off pretty strong.
Smaller
shown
big dog.
in the trailer started in San Francisco. The usual sorts of things. Nice bright sunny day.
Yeah.
Somebody's
it
attacking
was
a
Avengers
bridge.
Day. Everyone's happy.
Yeah.
And then everything goes to hell, and so the Avengers must leap into action and assemble.
Yeah. So, like we said, Avengers have got sort of like this history of a lot of their games being catered towards the younger rather than the older, and I think this is what I got from Square Enix having this rights, and when they showed that original tiny teaser
the original
trailer,
teaser trailer
gives the impression of a dark and gritty sort of approach to the Avengers. So when they started this trailer and it showed it all like bright and sunny and they all look exactly the same as what the movie
they're all like
counterparts
off-brand
are.
movie ones,
Yeah.
rather than looking like the comics or looking like a Square Enix take. Like if you're we were saying off mic, like they have their Kai Arts series of figures.
It would have been so cool to see.
Yeah.
To see like Thor drawn or created not with his traditional armor, but with like these spikes and lightning flying off it. It's like comparing, like imagine Thor from the new God of War that you see. Like that is going to look nothing at all like Thor from
the MCU.
So they could have gone to those sorts of different limits. Again, you got to remember that Disney obviously own Marvel and all of this and all of that, so they will have some
from
control.
a marketing standpoint. They want them to skew closer to the.
So
movies.
it was a bit disappointing in that respect.
Yeah.
But like we were saying, the start of this trailer does show like all daylight and everybody looking all fine.
Yeah.
It turns dark though.
Yeah.
And they didn't show any proper actual gameplay footage.
No.
They've shown
it seems like you're watching gameplay at certain points during the trailer. Like you see parts where it looks like you're playing as Hulk and he can do like a sort of scripted jump.
Yeah.
And then you can pick up and throw tanks and he like kicks a dude while he's at it. Fun little bit. The parts with Iron Man look like you're playing as him flying. Same with Cap and whatnot. Yeah. But you don't know.
It's all rendered. It is all rendered. Most of this is all rendered.
It seems to be in-game render.
Yeah.
But, we don't know if we're looking at bullshots or not.
Yeah, but
things go wrong, and then it seems like gonna go darker.
Yeah.
At least a little bit.
It's just got more of a dark sort of feel, and you do get this whole sort of presence of it's not like it's how these games should be. Is that just because they're heroes doesn't mean that they can solve every problem.
Exactly.
Which is great. Yeah. And they're giving the impression that
that's the key to Marvel, is putting the human in the superhuman.
The character development is super crucial.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're working in the right direction so far.
Yeah.
And Nolan North is the voice of
Tony
Stark.
Were keen to highlight their voice cast.
Yeah.
They've got
Troy Baker.
I forget some of them, but we have Troy Baker as Bruce Banner Hulk. Mm-hmm. We have Nolan North as Iron Man.
Yeah. And the two
I recognised the others.
The other two, which are obviously not quite as famous. This is original adventures, and you can play it either single player or co-op.
Yeah, which will be cool. Like, this will be really sort of asynchronous multiplayer, but like co-op, which is unusual.
And it's co-op up to 4 players as well.
Yeah. If we're honest, Cap is maybe going to be alright, but playing as Black Widow is maybe not going to be as interesting.
I think that I'm the sort of person that would love to play as Black Widow. I think rather.
See, I think I would too, but I think for most people,
everyone's going to be like Spider-Man or not Spider-Man. Sorry, Iron Man or Thor. That's what everyone wants to go as. I mean, they're saying that there's going to be more characters and whatnot down the line. Anyway, I mean, like we're saying, if you can play up to 4 characters, you're not limited to just those.
That's
you can play
very
as Hulk. You never have to have a Black Widow, realistically. But I can guarantee you right now, Black Widow is going to be the most OP character. Because she's one of those characters where they're like, oh, she'll have all these technical abilities. Yeah. And all of these technical abilities will basically, she'll just be able to like chain or boost damage to ridiculous amounts. Or that, for example.
I do wonder if the way it works co-op will be each character is fulfilling a different part of the mission or not. You know, because
that's what
Black Widow literally cannot do something that they would need to ask Thor to do.
Yeah, but that's where I'm
That's where we need to see gameplay.
What they're going to do, because there is a lot of potential here, and it has no microtransactions.
No,
that's what. This is what they're saying.
It's a bit sad that they got that we're at a point where people are whooping and cheering for this stuff, but they say that all the new heroes and levels will be free content.
Yep.
They're saying that there won't be any. Did they say microtransactions?
No microtransactions and no loot boxes. That's what they said. So that basically means that there will be DLC or downloading for costumes and cosmetics, no doubt. Yeah. And there's no pay to win system in this either.
That was what they said. They said no loot boxes and no pay to win. They didn't use the word microtransactions, which I think means that you could buy a costume.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
This is coming out on May 15th, 2020.
Yeah.
Do you know what is a real big concern? Is that they didn't say that about Final Fantasy VII. They didn't say that had no pay to win. Ridiculous. I mean, the pre-order bonuses that came with...
Oh yeah, we didn't actually discuss the pre-order bonuses.
Because when I was watching it and taking down my notes, I went onto the Square Enix website to try and pre-order it beforehand, rather than taking down the notes.
Yeah, so there's
3 systems.
There are 3 SKUs. Standard is just standard. I think if for pre-ordering you get the Chocobo Chick.
Yep.
Summon.
Summon is a bonus.
Yeah.
Then you have
the
Deluxe.
A Deluxe, which gets you I'm guessing a Steelbook. Mm-hmm. It gets you an art book.
No art book in the
No,
Deluxe.
art book is in the Deluxe.
No way.
It's not a big fancy art book. It's like one of the smaller ones that you get in Deluxe editions.
Yeah.
Do you get a soundtrack in the Deluxe edition or not?
I can look it up right now.
Okay. Ben is going to look that up. And while he remembers that, I will point
Final edition.
The Ultimate Collector's Soldier First Class Edition or First Class Edition.
First Class Edition.
You get a nice big... I don't know that it's a figure or a statue, but you get a cloud with his Fenrir.
You do get the flipping art book as well. So the Deluxe Edition comes with the art book, a steel book, the mini soundtrack CD, and Cactuar Summon, as well as the Chocobo Chick.
Yeah.
And then on the First Class Edition, not only do you get the Cactuar and the Chocobo Chick, you also get the Carbuncle. Then you also get the music track, the art book, the steel book, and the cloud on his Hardy Daytona. That's what his originally was called.
Oh yeah,
so it might
Fenrir
be
is the
Fenrir is the one from Advent Children. I mean, the First Class Edition costs £260. That's a lot of money. The Deluxe Edition,
$350, which I think is a pretty poor exchange rate, but I'm not sure on that.
I mean, for the first time ever, the Brits have it better.
Yeah.
The Deluxe Edition is £80, which is also just ridiculous. But then now that I've just realised that you get the CD with it as well as
the art book,
the steel
book, and Cactuar.
Yeah, I'm feeling it's less overpriced. But I mean, if this game is as big as it is and whatnot, I've bought the First Class Edition because I'm just one of those knobs.
This is your.
This is my piece de resistance.
Dream game,
waited what, best part of about 15 years for this, so I feel as though I can do one. I can pre-order. I've only pre-ordered 2 games in the past 3 years. And that was Final Fantasy 15 and this. So,
Wow. That's wow.
yeah, do not like pre-ordering games. Although I did buy Sekiro like on the day it came out. So, I mean, I'm not all gracious and whatnot. So, that was everything from the Square Enix conference. See, we spoke for an hour on just Square Enix.
Yeah.
And most of that was
Well,
Final
I
Fantasy.
mean, let's be very honest.
We could have
Square
spoken
Enix
more.
arguably had the best presentation. I mean,
yes, I agree.
we're gonna get into it. I think Nintendo's overall was probably better, but Square Enix is definitely second, if not first. Really, just depending on what you're into.
Yeah. Right. So, what we will do now is we will go on to Nintendo, and then we'll do a summary at the end.
Yeah.
Of all of this. But you're going to have to quick fire through Nintendo, but I know that's definitely not going to be possible. This is ridiculous how much we've got to talk about.
We'll be fine.
So
this will be one of our nice.
Do you want to? Would you like to follow my notes so you know what your talking points are?
Sure.